MASH X-Ride Classic 650 Best Motorcycle Review Oodles of style for minimal outlay, though bargain price means accepting a few niggles. MASH are a French concern, and yes, they're named after the TV show of the 70s/80s. In business for a decade, their bikes are actually built by Shinrei, a huge Chinese company that makes a very comfortable living from building machines based around existing designs. For the MASH X-Ride 650 Classic, this means the single-cylinder engine that used to power Honda's legendary NX 650 Dominator. There's more connection to old-school giant traileys too, as there's an unmistakable and completely intentional hint of Yamaha XT500 to the retro bike's look. If you still pined for the time of dirt-based thumpers, the MASH seems like just the ticket, especially with its very modest £4,999 asking. $5,000 isn't much for a well-finished 650 retro, especially one with features you don't find on similarly priced potential rivals: radial brake, LED lights, adjustable levers, and more. The engine is willing with a decent character and pleasing exhaust note, and the X-Ride feels right during half-arsed B-road bend swinging. Unfortunately, while it has plenty going for it, there are just a few too many irritations, even accepting that oh-so-attractive price. Its chassis shortcomings are things you notice every ride. Sorting the issues out wouldn't be rocket surgery but would require time and money, which defeats the object of a bargain-priced buy-and-ride bike. If your riding is mostly on tight lanes and you're smitten by the X-Ride's looks, fill your boots. There's not really anything else quite like it. You can count other $5,000 retro traileys with decent-size engines on the fingers of no hands, and for cheery bobbing down back lanes it does have appeal. But remember that while Royal Enfield's Interceptor 650 might be £700 more expensive, the best-selling 650 Parallel Twin is faster, smoother, and a much more rounded package. The Indian firm's bikes hold their money far better than French ones, too. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a 650 cubic centimeters version of the RE Himalayan. Ride quality and brakes. Running gear looks impressive. There's a sizable radial-mounted brake caliper on a 320mm disc, with chunky-looking forks, a neat aluminium swing arm and attractive gold rims. However, the MASH X-Ride 650 Classic doesn't ride as well as it looks. The biggest issue to get around is MASH's decision to build a supermoto with broad 17-inch rims, but fit chunky off-road tires. Supermoto bikes are trail machines converted for tarmac capers with smaller, wider rims and grippy tires, but curiously the X-Ride has low grip knobless. I know the dirt look is all the rage, but they spoil the 650's steering and low-speed handling. It feels like the front tire is soft. They look like the Pirelli fitment on a Yamaha Tenere 700 but are made by Kenda, and don't have the Pirelli's grip at decent lean on chilly or damp roads. The riding position is nicely balanced and spacious enough despite the X-Ride being compact, and the bench seat is comfy enough to see off the contents of the 12-liter tank. No problems with the ride quality from the rear shock either, especially given this price point. But the front forks are disappointingly choppy. The ride is jiggly and unsettled at pretty much all speeds. And while the blingy-looking Honda 4-pot front brake stops the 650 well enough with a good squeeze of the span adjustable lever, it's desperately shy of feel. Engine. The X-Ride's motor is the air-cooled 644 cubic centimeters overhead cam single that Honda used in the NX 650 Dominator and XR 650 dirt bike. Shinrei acquired the rights in 2016. Back when Honda made it, the unit produced 39 pound-feet of thud and around 44 brake horsepower, but modern regs mean this MASH version has 32 pound-feet and around 40 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. However, the X-Ride still feels how old giant traileys used to. It pulls cleanly all the way to an indicated 7,000 RPM and thrums contentedly at 75 miles per hour in top, fifth gear. There are no off-the-throttle power wheelies, but the Delphi injection gives great fueling and there's a tad less low-speeding chugging than big singles of yore. It's a dry-sump motor, with oil carried in the frame. The dipstick is next to the headstock. Reliability and build quality. There are some pleasing parts on the 650. The neat rear rack, finned headlight housing and Diddy ABS switch on the bright finished bars are great, and the tiny clocks are in keeping with the style of bike. Some of the welds on the frame aren't the nicest to look at, who mentioned pigeons, and our 1,000-mile-old test bike had the first tiny suggestion of rust on the underside of the steel twin-pipe exhaust. Overall finish is certainly no worse than a Royal Enfield Interceptor though, and you have to look hard to see evidence that it's a £5,000 bike, not one costing more. Value versus rivals. There aren't many other 650s for £5,000. Most bikes at this price point feel a tad flimsier, too. In terms of seeming like it's worth the cash, the X-Ride succeeds. Insurance won't break the bank either. It's a Group 9, which is a group higher than a Royal Enfield Interceptor, but then still only the same as a Kawasaki Ninja 300. The ex-Honda engine is good for 50 miles per gallon, given the sort of breezy thrumming the mash encourages. Tires should last as well. But it's unfortunate that the 644 cubic centimeters single needs frequent servicing, as in every 2,500 miles. We're not talking just oil and filter either, there's a valve clearance check every time. Access is easy and they shouldn't need adjusting on every occasion, but it's still a bit much. Spark plugs and air filter are every 5,000 miles. Equipment. The mash won't excite if you're an electronics freak. You get switchable ABS, and that's your lot. The very compact single digital dial has limited information, speed, revs, fuel level and odometer, and no scope for adjustment, but it feels right on a 70s style retro. Other bits make up for the lack of gizmos. The overall finish is good, the Monza style filler cap is neat, and the rims and brakes give a fancier image than they're deserving of.